Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today we're going to be discussing The Suicide Squad.
So The Suicide Squad has released on HBO Max, also in theaters. It's James Gunn reboot, if you will, of the Suicide Squad franchise. And it's crazy. The movie's absolutely off the rails, and in the best way possible, the best James Gunn way possible. I'm glad they chose him to helm this film because it doesn't hold back. I feel like he was given total flexibility to do whatever he wants, which I think is the best way to do these kind of movies.
Yeah.
We've seen what's happened in the past with the other DC films, but this is a good outing.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I might have liked the first one a little more than other people.
Yeah, we liked it more than most, but I mean, it's not great.
But I think it was more about the people who played the characters. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, once again, just knocks it out of the park. She is great as that character.
And I do like that she has a little bit of character growth in this movie. Obviously, I think she was excellent in Birds of Prey, and like her role in that was far more expanded than this movie. But I like the subplots in this one, kind of the romantic subplots, and her trying to get through life as someone who like kind of wants to be loved, but is so damaged that she can't really get past anything.
Exactly.
And just her like offbeat comedy, it works well. The comedic timing in this movie is perfect. There's so much good comedy. Obviously adult comedy, some really graphic situational comedy, but I think it works really well. It's definitely not for kids, but as an adult who just really loves these characters and these actors, I couldn't have asked for more.
Yeah, this movie is just bonkers, and I love it because that's how Suicide Squad, the first one, should have been. But this, James Gunn just takes it to a whole new level.
So Idris Elba is really good in this film as Bloodsport. He's kind of taking over that similar role that Will Smith had. He's kind of taking over a similar role that Will Smith had as Deadshot, and I think it works really well. Kind of his back and forth being a more serious person who really has serious goals and ambitions in life against these totally off-the-wall, ridiculous villains. I think that back and forth works. All the supporting characters add something to the story. Obviously, King Shark is the big standout. Everyone loves Sylvester Stallone as him. And his comedy just, like, I think it all blends together. I think they all have their unique form of comedy and personalities that elevate the film.
Again, the mission in this one is insane. We have a huge giant starfish, and there's a lot going on with it.
Yeah, so they throw into some subplots involving some Nazis. You know, that's something you got to throw in there to make it more ridiculous. They're on this little island country that's kind of going to be overthrown and becomes a threat to the United States, and it really does kind of have some political satire to it, because it talks about the issues that go on in Latin America and America's influence, and it does have some top-level stuff, but I do think that it was able to work in that storyline to make it at least compelling enough. It wasn't just like a sky beam like the first movie and they're just trying to raise the stakes. It feels more small scale, but it does escalate obviously by the end of the film. So I liked how it felt like this little mission. I do like how the movie really starts off by subverting expectations. One of the first few scenes in the movie is kind of this night mission where you have all these characters coming together and you're like, okay, these are going to be the people in the movie. This is what's going to happen. And they land on the beach and just things go completely crazy and they set the precedent for the movie. I like that. I don't like when movies like are somewhat tame and then they just have a crazy scene in them and then entertain more. This tells you right off the bat, they're like, this is going to be a crazy movie. It's going to be graphic. You never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen to anyone. And I think that helps build the tension because you never know who's going to die. And people do die throughout the movie just totally sporadically and randomly that you wouldn't expect.
I did like the action sequences in this film. I definitely liked the third act, the last act in the movie, where Margot Robbie, there's a bunch of cool like scenes with her.
Yeah.
There's a building collapsing with all these characters in them. I really enjoyed the whole mission that they were on.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good action set pieces in this one. Some really big ones, and they lead in some comedic moments. There's like so many parts that I literally laughed out loud at. One of them deals with them going through this camp and they're taking out all the enemies and then you realize that something different was happening the whole time. You have a moment where there's this regular guy who's kind of tagging along with them throughout the movie. Something happens to him and there's just a really funny comedic moment involving that. It's so funny. Like the movie it knows what it wants to be and it goes out to do that. Maybe there's some people that maybe wanted to take itself more seriously. I'm not one of those people. I want full comedy. Suicide Squad has so many ridiculous characters in it. And the fact that they were able to throw them in there like Polka Dot Man, loved it. I think he was the standout for me of the movie. And just what happens with him and his storyline just creates so many funny moments.
Yeah, I also like Cleo, like the rat lady.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved the story. I loved her little buddy.
Yeah, and it threw out some really heartfelt moments. Like this movie, I feel like it has something for everyone. Obviously, if you're not into graphicness, it's going to turn you off just from that. But it does have some kind of friendship moments, some family moments. It has all of it. You have John Cena as Peacemaker, had some really funny moments and kind of that idea of, a bad hero. I got like the Boys vibes from his character.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost like a Homelander type character. So I don't have anything bad really to say about the movie.
Yeah, I think I'd give this movie a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of bummed that it didn't do as well at the box office. I really think James Gunn took the Suicide Squad to a whole nother level. And he just made it fun and just different from all the other DC movies recently.
Yeah, honestly, I cannot wait for this movie to get more spin-offs. I know there's a Peacemaker, I think, show in the talks. I would love to see, obviously, more of Harley Quinn and everyone involved in it. Like you said, Cleo, the Ratcatcher too, I think is her name. So like, I can't wait to see if they expand on it. I hope the bad box office numbers don't hurt the movie because, I mean, it's a hard R. We're in a pandemic. What did they expect it to really make? So the fact that it's on HBO Max, like you can just watch it for free. So I hope at least the HBO Max numbers they're probably buried somewhere, you can't actually find them, but I hope that gives it enough to make it to the next level. So if I were to rate the Suicide Squad, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's almost a perfect movie for what it wants to be. Obviously, there are better superhero movies. I mean, it's hard for me to give it a 10 out of 10. But it's really good. I definitely think if you wanted to check it out and you were interested in it and you like James Gunn's style and you didn't love the first Suicide Squad movie and you're like, oh, is this going to be that? It's definitely a lot better than the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like the first one. People hate that movie.
Yeah.
But I think they had a lot going for it, and it just the execution and kind of the cutting up of the movie. Obviously, maybe we're going to get a David Ayer's cut. I mean, we got the Zack Snyder's cut, which was amazing. Love that. So I think you should definitely check this one out.
Yeah, so this sums up our review of the Suicide Squad. Let us know down in the comments what you thought about it. How does it rank amongst the other DC films?
Yeah, and who was your favorite character? Like I said, I loved Polka Dot Man. Who was your favorite character?
I still like Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, she's excellent.
So good.
But there's so many cool characters. I mean, Weasel.
I controversial.
Every part with Weasel.
People hate him. People love him.
I loved Weasel. I am Team Weasel. I hope he comes back. I mean, at the end, not to spoil too much, but we may get more Weasel. I want a Weasel standalone series. Yeah. Because, it's just good stuff. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. And see you guys next time.
Bye.